At some point, I began to recognize my defeat. A lot of times, people are not willing to say we are defeated, but what's the source of defeat? Sin was the source of defeat. How did a person get 100% control of me? Because I was living in sin. How did a person get authority over me? Because I was living in sin. Jesus began to tell, God began to tell Cain, he says, Cain, sin waiting at the door is trying to rule over you. Sin waits at the door, is trying to rule over you. What is these demons using? They're using sin. What are they using? They're using stuff that appeals to you. What are they using? They're using psychology. What are they using to take control of you? They're using so many things so that you can't live life. You won't realize when they talk about World Z. They talk about the zombies. They talk about the corpses. They talk about the corporations. They talk about the companies. They're talking about all these different things. But one thing you're going to realize is that they're turning around and they're talking about this stuff that they're talking about to gain control. So they're talking about, I don't know if you ever really watched some of these World Z movies, some of these demonic possession movies and stuff like that, where these things are eating other things. I Am Legend. A lot of people don't understand that on I Am Legend, he was talking about the disease of them dumbfounding us through sickness of sin. But a lot of people are never going to perceive that disease. They're never going to understand what's really taking place in that movie. But there's so many different layers and dimensions to the movie. As you awaken, you're going to awaken to all these different layers and dimensions that's going to awaken you to another height of God altogether, and who you really need to trust, and the word of God that you really need to trust. A lot of times we're sitting up there and we're not standing for holiness. Holiness has multiple books. We got the Holy Quran. Guess what? You sitting up there, you teaching people, oh, you're a Christian. That isolation and that separation is going to cost you at some point. Oh, the Holy Quran is not really a good book because of the fact that it's for Muslims. Why are you divided? Why are you separated as a religion? You didn't understand that we're standing for holiness. I can sit up there and I can find holiness in the Quran. I can find holiness in many different nations that I have never even visited before. When you sit up there, Ethiopians have a Bible. The Bible is identical to the Holy Bible, but it has different names. But you're ready to go into war about cultural differences and how white people stole this and white people stole that. Maybe white people didn't steal anything and black people didn't steal anything. Maybe it's the fact that we're sitting up here and God's trying to give wisdom, but you're too busy worrying about race. You're worrying about the divisions and the fashions of things that they have put into place to sit up there and keep you dumbfounded. Because even in fashion, fashion talks about life. These are the muses, these are the angels of muses that can actually bring life to you because they're telling stories. When you dance, it talks about life, it's telling a story. Your designs, what you wear, tells a story. The art is screaming the story. We are screaming, and yet and still they hear not the echoes. A story of the sin and the betrayal of a nation and of a people, but we're not understanding that these things are going on and they have been happening every day to us. And we're not able to receive it because guess what? Sin is ruling over us. So what's the problem? The problem is sin. So how do I stop it? I have to sit up there and I have to read the holy books. I have to read the scriptures. Okay, what's gonna happen when I read the scriptures? I might not agree with some things. If you don't agree with some things, if you don't agree with some things, don't do them. I'm gonna be as clear as I can possibly tell you. I don't agree with it. I'm not gonna do it. I want God, and I'm gonna pray about it, and I'm gonna tell God, guide me in this because I know that they have been messing with the holy books and the holy scriptures to try to keep us from doing God's will. So yes, they have been taking the Holy Bible from us. They've been taking the hymn books. They have been taking everything from us. And I tell people this all the time. I say to them, I say a lot of times you're not going to understand this, but I'm going to make it where you understand that a lot of times what's taking place. So part of the focus is to sit up there and basically throw you are balanced to certain things that are actually taking place so that sin can rule over you, so that they can have domination over you, so they can have authority over your lifestyle and stuff like that. How you sit up there and how you stay in control is by sticking to the holy scriptures, by sticking to the word of God and stuff like that. Some of it you're going to be like, well, why should I stick to this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell a lot of people, Apostle Paul said it's better to be alone, right? A lot of times you might not want to be alone. You probably want a companion. He said, well, if you sit up there and basically you feel like you can't do without sexual activity, you can't do without certain things, you can't do without a companion, then get married. Get married and this will help you or whatever, but it's not really in God's plan for you to be married. But guess what? The reason why the enemy keeps showing you constantly marriage situations, that you need to get married, that you need to be in a marital situation, a marital relationship, and stuff like that, because you don't know all the responsibilities of a marriage. Let me be real with you. A marriage is not to be taken lightly. It's not easy to sit up here and basically do what you have to do in a marriage relationship and being married to somebody. Think about it. You have to take on the problems they have. Some of them don't have good thought processes. Some of them don't have good feelings about certain things about you as a person, about a lot of different things. But here you are in a relationship, dating, married to people that you're not even happy with. Some women are spending 10, 15 years in a healthy state, and you are looked at as livestock. This man can sit up here and sell you off, pawn you off, rape you off with other men, and all kinds of things without you even having a say in it. Because basically you sold yourself, and men aren't the only ones. Sometimes we're dealing. Women aren't the only ones. Sometimes we're dealing with men who are going through these same things, where he's being sold off, he's being raped off, he's being put in certain situations he don't like being put in, because the woman knows certain things and he does not. You understand what I'm saying? I can't tell you. One time I dated a guy, and I can't even say one time. It said, I'm gonna be real with you. Multiple times I dated guys, and I couldn't tell if they was punning me off and raping me off with other men, other women, all kinds of stuff. And they don't tell these stories. You know what I'm saying? So this is basically sin ruling over you, saying, look, I have no value for you. I have no worth for you. I can't tell you you're going to be dating sometimes, and you're going to date in a relationship, and you may be fun, and you may be have fell in love with the man, but the man don't have no love for you, or he's in a warfare situation, and basically you're forced to cheat on him. And you're like, I don't want to cheat on him, but you don't have even the ounce of control over yourself. And guess what? They say it's your fault because you didn't have control over yourself. Why? Because you didn't control over sin. You didn't control over the demons and the spirits that was ungodly, that was trying to control over you. And even when you do, I'm going to be real with you. I have, as a woman of God, God had revealed to me, like, we in all our righteousness, we're loving God. And there are times when we're blank completely out, blank completely unconscious, put completely asleep. Sin is allowed to reign on earth for a certain number of years, and then we're woke up in the rain and end up being consumed by sin because basically we docile. So being woken to certain things that are taking places, being woken to certain things that are doing what it's supposed to do, makes you even more want to labor and do the work of God, so that you never get involved in that, so that you never get caught up in certain things, so that you know the will of God. It's not like they erasing your memory and you waking up with all this stuff in you that's ungodly, with no memory of the sin at all that you're supposed to control over it, with no memory of the word of God at all that you're supposed to actually obtain to it. and you're waking up with their knowledge and stuff like that. They tell about Psalms and all this stuff right here and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff, if it was pronounced the way it was supposed to pronounce, it will lead you to what you're supposed to be led to. So they sit up there and they laugh at you and say, "Oh, you're ignorant because you call it psalms or p psalms or something like that and stuff like that." But actually, the P may stand for praise, praise psalms. And I know y'all heard praise psalms sometimes before, but we haven't acknowledged that because guess what? It was removed. Actually, the Psalms isn't really what it probably supposed to be. It's supposed to be written another way as far as documentary wise, but it isn't. We have to really wake up to the fact that the enemy is clever. Evil is clever. Evil has a plan to reign, and it will use whoever it can to reign with. But your nature was not evil. Your nature was good. But at the same time, if I can use something that's good to do evil, what am I going to do? I'm going to do exactly that. Doesn't matter what they say, I'm gonna do exactly that. So we really have to uphold to the word of God. We really should have to live the way God has called for us to live, and we really have to shun evil. And that's like the hardest thing because everything that's programmed in us at this time is saying